Hey everyone, how's it going today? Coach Alvarez here, back at you another episode, Coffee with Coach. Hope you're up doing well. Got the mind in the right place. If not, as always, let's put it in the right place. So, I want to share with everyone something new I was listening to today. I just came across it this morning as I was walking my dogs and working out. So I've been listening to it for a couple hours. It's kind of long. It's a Joe Rogan clip, like part of his podcast, and he's talking about a number of things. But one of the things that captured my attention that I wanted to talk about was he started talking about building good and bad momentums in your life, and then like obviously the results of those things. He was talking about how people blow things off, meaning they just find an excuse and a way to like not do something that they're supposed to be doing, whatever it is. It could be eating healthier, their workouts, whatever that they know they're supposed to be doing. And he's like, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it whenever. And you just go and do something else because you just don't want to face maybe some of the challenges that it encounters with the thing. So you run from the thing that's that's going to be some work, some hard work. Could be, like I said, could be a workout, whatever. And he's also talking about the flip side of that, where for the ones that start to become more disciplined and doing things that are going to help them. Okay, again, eating healthier. He's talking about all these things. He's talking about like natural medicines, things like people move in their bodies. Like we're human. We're meant to move. We're not meant to sit behind a desk all day, 8, 9, 10 hours with artificial light and not be mobile. We're meant to like be physical. And these things build momentum. So when you start getting disciplined and you start getting these workouts in like you're supposed to, and you're eating healthier and you're doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing, those things build momentum too. So it starts to take you down a better path, versus once you start blowing things off, he says your mind is like, it's programmed now. Like it has a pathway to take the way out. And once you give your mind a pathway of an excuse, a way out of something, then you start taking that, and that builds momentum, and you start making more excuses, and you start finding other ways to just avoid the things that that you should be doing, avoiding the things that that are going to help you be successful. And then on the other side of that is, for the people that are disciplined, that stick to it through the monotonous routine, the tedious things throughout the day. I was talking to one of my students last night because I've been kind of talking to my students about their hydration and the if you train jiu-jitsu, you have to really take care of yourself. It's really, really hard to like get away with eating fried foods, fatty foods, energy drinks, just a bunch of trash that you put in your body on a daily basis. For some people, it just doesn't mix with jiu-jitsu. And so where I was talking to one of my students last night, I'm like, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to take care of yourself. But it's also a lot of work to like suffer the consequences of like not taking care of yourself, So I can eat the healthy foods and take the vitamins that I take and put the stuff in my coffee that I put in my coffee and the things that I put in my water every day, and take care of my body the way I'm supposed to. Or I could treat it like trash, fill it with a bunch of junk, and then over the course of time, get high blood pressure, diabetes, have to take all kind of pills and medications for the rest of my life because I have all these complications with my health. So that's a lot of work too. So it just depends on which way you want to go with that. Which momentum do you want to build? You want to build the momentum on a more healthier, fruitful life where you're like dependent and you don't really need a walker. You don't need pills to like to survive, like artificial medications that people make you, that the doctors prescribe for you, so you build momentum either way, it's a lot of work. Okay. Whether you do it the good way or you don't do anything and you blow everything off, eventually that'll catch up to you. And that's going to be a lot of work having to take those pills. Cause I know personally people were like, I've seen people post like on their Facebook page or social media pages, and they'll have like a counter, and it's just like pill after pill after pill after pill, all these pills that are prescribed from a doctor that they have to now take because of just years of not taking care of themselves. Some of it's hereditary, yeah, I get that, but for the most part, these individuals that I'm referring to don't exercise, they don't eat healthy, they don't do anything, they just go to work, or maybe some of them don't even work, or they don't do anything, and as a result, they have very poor health. And so, I was talking to another student last night. This is a new guy. He's trying out the class, and he makes a comment like, "Man, I got to do more cardio." And I'm like, "Yeah, that'll help. That'll help." Because we were just doing the warm ups. Like we were just kind of going through some of the beginning portions of the class, and he was out of breath and kind of struggling with the class and to keep going. And I just said, "Look, if you become consistent and you keep showing up like you're supposed to show up, and you get rid of, because this person had a little bit of weight on him, he wasn't like the thinnest person, you can tell like he hasn't really been eating the best or taking care of himself the best." So I said, once you start drinking more water, getting rid of the sugary drinks, and you start eating healthier, getting rid of the fried and fatty foods, you start coming to class on a routine basis, and you put yourself around individuals like everyone that was on the mat last night, you're going to start to build momentum. And that's what it kind of just grabbed my attention today, because I'm talking about momentum a lot with my students. I'm like, when you start doing these things, the right things, they start to build, and you start to get momentum. You start to build some traction on these things. And before you know it, it just gets a lot easier. It's still work. It's still a lot of work, but it becomes a lot easier because it's what I do for a living. I watch individuals change from the moment that they walk in till 4, 5, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 4 years, depending on however long they're with me. I watch people change. Their bodies change. Their minds change. The way they think change. The way they take care of themselves change. But that comes over time with building momentum of doing the right things and being consistent and disciplined and staying on the path with the things that that you're supposed to do. Or I know quite a few people, probably more people than the healthy people, because on average most people aren't physical. They don't really like to exercise. They don't want to run. They don't really like eating healthy. They weren't raised that way, to eat that way. One of the questions I got recently was, how long have I been like this? The way I eat and exercise and talk, because I wasn't raised this way. I was not raised this way. My parents didn't raise me. My parents to this day still don't work out. So they didn't work. I didn't grow up watching my parents work out. Like my daughter Danielle, like she grew up watching me work out. Like from the time she was born till now, like it's just part of the family thing, like what we do. She's always seen me doing jiu-jitsu or wrestling or something and working out. It's just what her eyes have always seen me do. She does it. She's very consistent with it. But I didn't have that growing up. I didn't have, we didn't eat healthy growing up. Mexicans, we had Mexican food, and then we moved to the other side of town, where it was like middle, upper class, predominantly white neighborhood. And we're eating, spaghetti and meatloaf and just what other people like that eat, right? Like that's just what we ate. But it wasn't healthy. It wasn't like I was raised to be that way. And it wasn't until I joined the wrestling team to where at this point, now you got to make weight. You have to watch what you eat. You have to run. You have to work out. You have to wrestle. You have to burn these calories and do these things physically with your body to make these weight classes. And so that was kind of like the beginning of it. And in the beginning, obviously, I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing what I was told. But through the process of all these years, um, I've learned more, and I've acquired more knowledge of how to take better care of myself. And so through that process, um, it just became a habit. It's just what it is. Like it's I cannot not do it. I can't undo it because of the way my mind and my brain works. I talk about this before. Like there's just days where I'm beat up and sore and tired from training jujitsu twice a day and lifting weights and whatever else, and you get up and you're just like, man, I just don't want to do it. But when I listen to the things that I'm listening to, like this stuff today and building momentum, is like, man, like it's just not a choice. Maybe I don't want to, but that doesn't mean like I'm not going to. Like I'm gonna do it. Like I'm gonna do it. It's just I'm being a little chump right now because my feelings. I just feel a little battered and bruised and tired. But that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna do it. But that's what this Joe Rogan thing was talking about. Is that option? If I was to give myself an option to blow off today because I'm tired, sore, and I just don't feel like it. I emotionally just don't feel like it. Then I'm now giving myself a pathway to blow things off. And then what happens with that? You build momentum of blowing other things off. Well, I don't feel like it doing this either. So how about I just not do that either? And there's other things that you need to get done, and you're going to blow those things off, and those things build traction as well. So building momentum, good and bad. You're smart. You're a smart individual. You know what's right and what's wrong. And if you continue to do the things that are unhealthy and the things that don't get your body moving, and you're not putting yourself around the right people and the right mindsets, those things will take over, and you now have a clear path with no obstruction whatsoever stopping you to blow things off. You've built that momentum. Or the other way, like me, habits over years, discipline over years, to where like you just don't feel like it on certain days, but it's just not going to happen. You are going to do it because it's just who you are. It's in your DNA now. Like it's just you as a person. And again, that was one of the questions I got the other day. It was like, how did I become like that? I had a question like that recently, or a comment in the past, like the thing with my credit score. I always bring up the credit score because it says a lot about you as a person if it's crappy. That's different than my parents. Like my parents didn't eat healthy and they didn't work out, but at an early age they showed me how to take care of my credit, and so that's built momentum over years, and so I can basically buy whatever I want because once they run my credit score, they're just like, Mr. Alvarez, what do you need? What would you like? Versus if your credit score is crappy and it's not that good, it's like, well, let me take you over to this section over here and show you these more limited options of what you can get. But we can't show you what's over here because you can't afford that and your credit's not good enough for that. So let's take you over to this other section. That's not it. Because that happened to me one time. I was looking to buy something and I kind of got like a stereotype. Bald-headed Mexican, just some tattoos on my arm. They're probably thinking I don't have any money, probably don't have any credit. They ran my credit, and the lady comes back, and her attitude was completely different. Completely different. All of a sudden, it's rose petals, and would you like some coffee? Would you like a drink? Are you thirsty? I didn't get any of that in the beginning when she first walked up to me. But once they ran my credit score, it was completely different. It's completely different. It's funny how that works. So, but that takes time, builds momentum. So everything matters. Everything builds momentum in a good and a bad way. We are now October 4th, 2022. Where's your momentum at for this year? It's the last quarter. It's the last 3 months of the year. If you've been building bad momentums over the course of this year, you have 3 months to make some changes to go into the new year and then hit the ground running. So there's time. There's always time. But, for those other individuals, I give these speeches all the time around this time of the year. I tell my students all the time, You worked hard all year. I've seen you on the mats all year. You built this momentum up all year. And now here comes the holidays. Here comes Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Do not disappear and then have to start all over again come January, because it's so hard, so much harder to get where you're at, and it's so much easier to just gain it all, like lose it all, like, you know what I mean? Like to just, I mean, in a matter of a couple of weeks, you can gain all your weight back plus some. You can lose your jiu-jitsu skills and your cardio and your conditioning, your grips, whatever. But how long did it take you to get all that? That's a scary thing. Like, look, I just spent 9 months trying to get where I'm at, and now I'm here, and now I'm going to take the next 3 months off. Man, that's a dangerous place to be mentally. So again, giving yourself those options of, good and bad momentums, it makes a difference. Really good stuff this morning, man. I gotta listen to more. I didn't get to all of the podcast, but that portion of building momentums was pretty good stuff. All right, guys, gotta go. Catch you guys on the next one. Have a great day. We'll see you.